What's good, fam? Welcome back to the Supremely Black podcast. It's your boy D.Rose. I was just coming in to tap in with you all today just to kind of give some of my newer people insight on who I am and how I got to this level of consciousness, and to even some of our consistent followers as well. Just to kind of give you a breakdown on who D-Rose really is, who's the voice that you actually hear on the podcast consistently every week. Just to kind of give you the breakdown, I'm just turned 30 on July 29th, so it's been a blessing to even see that. I have three siblings, two sisters, and a little brother. Grew up in a single parent household, so a lot of times you hear things that I may speak about is from that perspective, just to give you an insight on my upbringing. Growing up in a single parent household where you have a mother just trying to provide, you have family that's chipping in the best way they can to help you out with that. Things weren't always the sweetest, no matter how people may have viewed it, you feel me? So it was just always a little different for me growing up, especially being the oldest and the boy and the only boy that stayed within the house. So that was definitely a different perspective for me. Growing up, played sports a lot, all the way up until like my sophomore year in high school. I just stayed in trouble a lot, had a bad attitude, didn't want to listen. So it just kind of landed to a string of things of that. Just growing up, most of my friends, they were all actively playing sports until high school. And then pretty much everybody kind of found their own way, you feel me? So that was just one of those things that you just had to adapt to. I remember half of my friends were still athletes, the other side was just becoming product of our environments. And I found myself, as I grew older, going more towards the street life and being around people that were taking, chances, as we would say now, penitentiary chances, and just living in the fast life. Just being an athlete and things like that just kind of came born to me. Like, I love my friends that play. We would still go to the games, but at the end of the day, I did have some very close affiliates that were in the streets, and that's just who I chose to be around. So I just wanted to kind of share that story, just kind of going back a little bit at 15 years old, becoming a gang member and having that conversation with my mama when she had found my bandana in the house, and just sitting down having that conversation with her. And I remember the tears that came to her eyes when she had found out. But one of the things that she was necessarily, I wouldn't use the word proud, but not ashamed to say that she knew for a fact that she had raised someone that still had a mindset of his own. So that did make her comfortable, even though no parent wants their child to be involved with street activity, right? So not that I was just extremely indulged in it, but I was definitely not a saint. I definitely did my fair share of things, right? So when I speak on things, I'm coming from a place of experience, whether it was something that I necessarily did or I was around people that done it. But those same life events is what shaped my life to really change my thought process and my level of consciousness, because I lost a lot of friends, and a lot of them to either the graveyard or the penitentiary, and they've impacted their family, their friends, even kids, what I'm saying, throwing your life away for a couple years, missing those first steps, hearing all that stuff. It was just very different for me, right? And what a few things that just really just changed my mindset is when I remember when I originally left for Nashville, I left from my hometown of Milan, to be exact, and moved to Nashville. I remember my uncle sending me back because I had a part-time job, but of course I was still wanting to, run the streets and do everything else that I wanted to do to make ends meet. I remember he sent me back, and I had a job at a little grocery store, which was cool, but I ended up losing that due to some bullshit that happened within the job, right? So I ended up getting this petty job, making maybe like $7.50 an hour. And I remember calling my homeboy, I'm like, $8.50, bro, I can't do this, man. I'm about to move back to Nashville and apply for this job. So I ended up doing it. Keep in mind, I just really jumped because I was filled out a job application on a cell phone, to be exact, just to get up there. But I had seen enough. It was just enough going on within my neighborhood, from, neighbors complaining, talking about that hey, we think that there's drugs being sold on this street heavily. My mama coming in crying. I have my little sister there. So it was just time for me to actually make that move. But it really started to hit me when I started to see a lot of my friends. When I'm looking around and there wasn't a lot of us left out here, and I was young at the time. I was like 19, 20. So I just realized that necessarily wasn't the life for me. And I think from my perspective, there was more to life than just the streets and throwing my life away early or dying. And so they just hit a switch. But two things that really got me is a few of my childhood friends got either a life sentence and another one 30 plus years. And but the biggest one was when my sister was supposed to have her first son, and he was born on the same day. He passed away the same day. And that brought my family very close, but that's when I actually realized, and it meant more to me, is that I don't know what or how she would have responded not being able to turn to me as her big brother in that particular instance. So from there, I knew then that I had to start doing things completely different and really sharing my story with the world, and really taking a step out of the streets and just really focusing on that. Still in tune, still very street smart, but I knew for a fact that my impact would be felt more if more people could hear this story. So as I was in Nashville, I've always been big into, mentoring and looking out to help kids and things like that out. So I was in Nashville for like 6 or 7 years. Any opportunity I would get, I would try to mentor young kids. But when I moved to Florida and lived there for 2 years, me and my old barber, Kenny, so shout out to Kenny. When you do see this video, hope everything is still out well with you, brother. But we were doing mentoring in a very poverty-stricken environment, very violence-ridden area of West Orlando, in Pine Hills to be exact. We did some work over there, and that was, for me, I realized, and that's about, 3 or 4 years ago now, that how important that was to impact those kids. And I could just see me in them just having that anger, not having a father around. The environments that you're in are pretty much saying of what you're going to be or not going to be. And sometimes it's definitely disheartening to see that those kids are already facing the stress that we have as grown adults, you feel me? So I just felt as that it was my duty to really go about things in a different way and really grab on to our community and give more than just the street life that everybody either glorifies. I would rather tell you the truth in regards to the things that you're actually going to impact, and how you'll be, and how our communities are impacted by that. The first time I ever went to jail was 16. The second time was at 19. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it in a braggadocious way. It's very impactful if you just don't realize that not thinking with logic and just reacting within those moments will put you in situations that you may not get yourself out of. And just luckily, and it was minor issues compared to some of the people that I grew up with or was around. It wasn't severely life impacting like that, which I can only be blessed for in that particular manner. I know I just wanted to share that with you all just to kind of give you a different perspective. I know you all hear my voice every week, and may just want to ask, like, who is this guy? Where did he really come from? Because he definitely has a strong opinion about particular things. But just to kind of give you the insight, I won't give it all to you, because we're definitely going to be chatting and touching bases even more and getting more intimate and diving into it and even connecting more with some of our subscribers in our Supremely Black family. So definitely thank you for taking time out and listen. Black love is Black power. Let's continue to build. Let's continue to love. Let's continue to focus on our community and not just complain. Let's put some action steps behind that. But we'll be tapping in. This is your boy D.Rose of the Supremely Black podcast. Thank you all for tapping in. Salute.